Welcome back to the Us versus Them channel. I'm your host, Vince, and we're going to break down the next fight for the upcoming UFC Fight Night this weekend in Rio. We have Ricardo Ramos versus Kaan Ofli, or Ofli. It's actually Ofli. Fuck it. Ricardo Ramos is sitting at a minus 194 favorite, and Ofli is sitting at a plus 150 underdog. Before we get into the breakdown, please, if you guys get a chance, like and subscribe on these videos. You know, the subscriptions really help us. We're actually only 4 away from getting our first milestone of having 50 subscriptions, which is sick. We're really excited about that. And liking the video just really helps us in the algorithm in general. You know, it kind of pushes our shit a little bit. We get more impressions, which gives us more opportunities to get more views and blah, 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 then more subscriptions and blah, blah, blah. You know, so if you guys could like the video, hit that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. When I was breaking down Ricardo Ramos, you know, when you break down his fights earlier in his career, you're going to realize that he's pretty much a grappler. He relies on his grappling skills to win fights. But when you get to his most recent fights, you're going to see that he's making improvements when it comes to his striking. He does like to throw a lot of spinning attacks, like spinning wheel kicks, sometimes spinning back fists. Actually has a spinning back elbow knockout. So, you know, sometimes they do work for him. I don't have a lot of striking experience in my life, but I have heard that once somebody feels the power of a spinning attack, they kind of fall in love with it. And it seems like Ricardo Ramos is kind of in that point in his career, and, you know, it's extended on a lot longer than it does for most people. You know, he throws more spinning attacks than I appreciate or than I really want to see, because let's be honest with you, I mean, 90% of them don't land at all, you know, so it doesn't really do much for him. To me, it seems like he does his best work when he's just sticking to the basics. He has a decent jab, especially for the rest of his striking. His jab is not bad at all. If he can follow that up with a 1-2, you know, very basic combo, but a combo that we see work every single weekend in MMA, you know, sticking something out there, very basic that he can continue to pump out throughout the fight. That's where he does his best work, honestly. When we saw the Josh Coulibaugh fight, he was doing his best work against Coulibaugh, where there's glimpses of him just doing the basics, you know. And I think, you know, hopefully that's something he can start to stick to a little bit more, because he does find more success. We did see in the Coulibaugh fight too that he can be susceptible to leg kicks. I don't really know how much of a factor that's going to be against Ofli, just because Ofli has a little bit shorter of a frame and he doesn't really invest a whole lot in the leg kicks. But that's just something worth noting. You know, Ricardo Ramos, his legs can be chewed up, and they have been before. And again, the Julian Rosa fight, he also showed that he has pretty big power too. You know, he sat Julian Erosa down before Erosa is eventually able to find the guillotine. But he does carry big power in his hands, and he does set that up by just sticking to basic strikes. When I was breaking down Ofli's striking, to be honest with you, I just didn't see a whole lot of footage of him finding a lot of success in the striking. I said earlier that he doesn't really have a lot of leg kicks, but sometimes he does throw leg kicks. I'm just rechecking my notes. He does throw some leg kicks every once in a while, and that's something that he could be using this weekend to, you know, have some success against Ramos. But that's kind of where it starts and ends for me. I mean, first off, if you do, you know, destroy somebody's legs and they're not able to move, it does open up the rest of the striking. So don't get me wrong on that. I understand that that's the progression, but you know, he does get away from the leg kicks eventually. It's not something that seems to be a part of his game plan that he wants to stick with for 15 minutes. At least I haven't seen that footage yet. You know, and then when you break down his fight against Marion Santos, you know, I wasn't able to gather anything from the striking that Ofli did well, because he kind of just stood there and was a punching bag for him for the first 8 minutes until the fight was stopped, you know. So I don't really have a whole lot of footage to break down from him that I really like. I don't want to go back on the regional scene and watch him fight a 3-4 tomato can, because let's be honest, Ricardo Ramos is going to look great against that guy too, you know. So he does have a shorter frame. He has a shorter reach. So I fully expect him to go in there and try to blitz, close the gap, and land big strikes. And it seems like he does that because he wants to push guys against the cage, you know, and then lower his level, get his double legs, lift him up, frog splash, go to work on top. That's pretty much what his bread and butter is, and it makes him a little bit one-dimensional. On the other hand, you have Ramos. You know, like I said, his jiu-jitsu is pretty good. I definitely give him the advantage when it comes to jiu-jitsu and finding submissions. But another thing to note about him, like I said, earlier in his career, high-level jiu-jitsu, later in his career, kind of got away from it a little bit. He hasn't had a submission in the UFC since 2020. It's been a long time since he's found one of his patent submissions. And in fact, he did go a period recently where he got submitted twice by guillotine in a row. That's a little bit concerning, but, I do believe that he'll still carry over the submission advantage just with his frame alone, his frame and experience. I got to give the nod to Ramos when it comes to the grappling. For my official prediction, I'm going to go with Ricardo Ramos, and I'm just on the fact that Kaan Ofli is just really not that good. I watched his fights on the Ultimate Fighter. He was able to catch a guy in a ghillie. Hopefully this is not, all, me foreshadowing or something like that. He does get caught in a guillotine, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I should have seen that coming, But, I just don't think that Ofli is that good, to be honest with you. He is 0-2 in the organization. He's, like I said, I'm not seeing the value in that. You got Ricardo Ramos, on the other hand, who's been in there with a lot more dangerous dudes. So I think that experience is something that he's going to be able to lean on, and, he's going to be able to find the victory he's looking for. So give me Ricardo Ramos on this one by decision. That's all I got for you guys in this fight. Stop by for our next one where we have Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. Again, another great opportunity for us to make money. So if you guys agree with my assessment in this video, disagree, whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'm the fuck out of here.